The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
John Mousinho has nailed his colours to the mast about Pompey's need to increase spending, saying,
"Like I've said, at the moment the plan is to build on what we're trying to do this season and be very short term. We need to be very focused on staying in the Championship now and then completely review things in the summer. We need to look at where we are as a football club and, if we hopefully stay in the league, look at what our strategy is going to be over the next 4 to 5 years. Then we need to go from there. We would need to have a really serious conversation about the levels of investment required. But over the past couple of years it's just been about consolidating in the Championship. Then if we do that, we then buy ourselves a bit of time to push on as a football club. I don't think there's any doubt in the League One season everyone was saying how we recruited in the summer, January, and how much investment was there. We went into the Championship season with a budget, and, in the first half of the season, we were undercooked in terms of where we were as a side. We addressed that last January in the short term. We probably tripled that in terms of the transfer budget in the summer and increased the playing budget as well. If you look at where we are now and what we did in January, if we went back and knew what Birmingham, Wrexham and Charlton were going to spend coming up and the rest of the league, there was lessons to learn. Maybe in terms of the rest of the Championship we have a bit of work to do there."
John Mousinho with some words there that will be music to the ears of a great many Pompey fans who are growing frustrated with where we are in the league and what we've been spending on the team that has got us to where we are in the league. And let's put injuries to one side for a second. We're playing teams that have got £8 million, £10 million players out there on the park. They don't look a lot better than us. But, of course, they can edge it from time to time. And that's why they're £8 and £10 million. And John Mousinho is clearly saying that if we want to establish ourselves as a bona fide top half Championship side, I think that's the plan for next season. That's what he wants to do next season. You're just going to have to spend a little bit more. And it may be that his message is in part for California. And he's saying to the Eisners, we have talked about this, but I'm now talking about it out loud because the fans deserve it. And our players need to know where we're going. I'll tell you what, it's absolutely unheard of in this day and age for not just a Championship manager, but just about any manager anywhere to be talking about where he wants to be with the club in 4 or 5 years' time. And this is fantastic in so many ways. And it's what our manager is saying. So, there's reason to be optimistic. But as one Prime Minister used to say, I'm an optimist, but I always carry a raincoat. Up at Ipswich, the coaching staff are defending George Hurst. Remember him, who has only scored once, I think it is, in the last 15 games. Down here, John Mousinho, from time to time, thinks it's a good idea just to remind us that Colby Bishop is of great value to the team, even if he's not scoring as many goals, anywhere near as many goals, as he did last season and the season before that. Here's what he has to say.
If you look at the amount of goals conceded, we have been pretty good. We're in a good spot defensively. One of the big things that has been missing is we haven't been scoring enough goals. That's an area we have looked to improve upon. My big take with Colby is I love it when he scores. He wants to score. I am a massive fan of trying to create a bit more for him. But the more important part of his game is what he does everywhere else. When he knits everything together, he creates a huge amount, particularly for the number 10 and 2 wingers. Occupying centre halves is a massive part of the way we want to play. I think goals will come off the back end of that, but Colby's performances, taking away the goals over the past few weeks, have been exceptional. He has been brilliant since the turn of the year. There was that spell out around Christmas with the knock he took to the top of his foot. He was ready for Ipswich that was called off the first time, then played against Arsenal. If you look at the performances off the back of that, Colby was very good against Watford, very good against Southampton. He was extremely good against West Brom without scoring, only to twist his ankle and, thankfully, missed just one game. Then he came back in and provided that real physical threat up top. Even against a very, very physically dominant centre-half, such as Charlton's Lloyd Jones, he gave a huge amount of problems.
John Mousinho was then asked about the penalty against Charlton.
We hadn't spoken about who would take it. It was one that I don't mind leaving to the players. In the moment, there's always the chance that, for whatever reason, a player may not want to take the penalty. So fair play to Colby in the fact he stepped up. On the pitch at the time, he's the player we would expect to take it, and put the ball into the back of the net under a lot of pressure. It was also a long, long time in between when the penalty was given and taken. He stood over the ball for a long time before the referee blew his whistle and, thankfully, slotted it away. I was delighted for Colby.
And there's no doubt about it that one of the pleasures of watching a game of football on a Saturday afternoon with Pompey playing is watching Colby Bishop do it against their centre-half, because he's generally, almost always, a couple or 3 inches or more shorter than the person who's marking him, and perhaps a stone lighter. But he's got a great physique, that low centre of gravity that some coaches talk about being important, and if you watch it, he's got it down to an absolute art form. He sees the trajectory of the long ball coming to him, usually from Schmidt, in fact almost always from Schmidt. Schmidt's picking him out. They obviously work hard on it in training, and Bishop starts backing into his marker. And as he pushes and pushes, you won't get blown up for a foul if you simply just push back with your body, move backwards. There's nothing to stop you doing it. The centre-half has to risk giving away a foul, which rarely gets given, by pushing back. But Colby can generally make himself a little bit of extra space whilst the ball is in the air, so that he can steady himself, make his jump in the way that he wants to, and either flick on, or if he can get his chest on the ball, hold it up. And I seem to remember more than one occasion when Schmidt was actually able to pick him out, and Colby did enough against his centre-half to be able to take the ball with his feet. And that's almost unheard of in English football anyway. On a personal level, what I would say is that Colby Bishop needs somebody playing off him. Okay, he needs a little oppo who is, I say little because often they are smaller and quick. He needs somebody playing off him so that those flicks that he does get plenty of in the game, he actually out-heads his centre-half more often than he is out-headed and out-muscled. So he gets a lot of ball. But when he gets that ball, we've got 2 wingers out wide. We've got a number 10 who's too deep. He's on his own. He's on his own. And it might sound old-fashioned, but having 2 men, at least for those long clearances, side by side so that they can work together, I think is, I know it's a little bit historic. Used to have playing 4-2-4 and there were 4 up front, so you would have 2. A big one and a little one it used to be. But there's something to be said for it. If our number 10 can get in close to Colby Bishop when he's about to receive the ball long from Schmidt, because he will win it more than half the time, and he's able to look up before he flicks the ball on to see where it needs to go. It's just a small piece of a passage of play that I think we could get a little bit better. Each week on Steve Bone's piece on Pompey Sound, the final question to him is his prediction for the upcoming game. And being about the only expert who said that Pompey were going to beat Charlton, then obviously we have to listen carefully to what he has to say. And if we miss it on Pompey Sound, we can always listen to his excellent weekly podcast. So, Millwall.
I'd bite your hand off. And half your arm as well for a point at Millwall. So I'm going to boldly predict a 1-1 draw at Millwall. We haven't won there for quite a long time, and I don't think we're going to win there this weekend. They're third in the table. They don't score many, but they don't concede many. 1 will do me. And as we won't speak before Wrexham away, do you want me to have a go at that one as well?
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, I overlooked that. Yes, please do.
Yeah, another game coming up.
We're playing Hollywood.
We're off to Ryan and his Hollywood mates. Again, I'd be happy with a draw there, and I think we might. Very unpredictable, Wrexham. They've done better than I thought they would do. I thought they might level out a bit this season after all their promotions, and I thought they'd be down the wrong end, but they've proved me wrong so far. But I think we will get a draw there, and I'm going to go 2-2.
Steve Bone, who has watched Pompey for 40 years, probably with greater perception and accuracy and attention to detail than any other Pompey fan. He also has great powers of recollection, and he's able to combine all that experience, bring it together, and give us predictions which frankly beat, well, just about anybody we know. So there it is. We ain't going to do too bad against Millwall if we come out with the same attitude that we've had starting games the last 2 or 3 matches. Steve Bone's podcast is available. Go to your podcast platform and you want to search Pompey Sound, and you'll get a list of podcasts, and you want the most recent one, which always starts its little sort of moniker with the name Steve.